does. So you have been making payments for a long time to receive the money, and you never got the money. I'll give you another example of that. How many people in here did a QWR? Did you get an answer? What's that? I can't hear. Okay. Do you understand why you didn't get an answer and how fortunate you are for not getting an answer? Who has to answer a QWR? The creditor. And if they don't answer, what if they just lawfully admitted that they can never, ever rebut again? They're not the creditor. Who can foreclose on your home? Is there like some simple math in there that I'm missing? So by not answering the QWR, they just admitted lawfully they can't foreclose. You can use that against them. We do. Now, because you've been paying that money every month, do they still have to give you the loan? Yeah. There's Blue Month contracts, which is, it's the predecessor to what we know as contract law in the U.S. Okay, you get all this patriot stuff. I just call it patriot stuff. Like I say, I grew up in that. I know where all the issues are. When you start talking about creditor and debtor, and there's all these websites and all these people charging all this money to lie to you and destroy your life and get you put in jail, you won't really learn the truth, because if you understand the truth, you wouldn't go through their teachings. So they have to leave out parts of it. I understand that. That's how bankers operate. I don't consider them any different than bankers. The problem being with it, that without knowing the full scope of the law, you're going to make bad decisions. So when you get involved in a contractual deal, just because one aspect of the contract is funky, even unlawful, that doesn't necessarily mean that the whole contract is void. Now, if there's fraud, SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, says fraud vitiates everything. That comes from a maxim of law written in the 1300s that says fraud vitiates everything. And being the Supreme Court not able to make an honest decision of their own, they just went with it. So if there's fraud in the contract, then it does vitiate everything. The problem being, because you paid that money, either that money is going into a deposit account. You hear and see the term deposit account quite frequently. Anytime you're talking about banking or contract law or mortgages, you're going to see and hear the word deposit account a lot. If you're given a check every month to somebody, yet there is no mortgage deed of trust, that's going in a deposit account. Somebody's got to be saving it for you. If there is some kind of a loan, then you still got to receive the loan. Did anybody get the loan? Anybody in here? No, they never give the loan. So now does everybody understand the premise here? Okay, well, I'm going to say this again. Interaction. Human beings, we're all in one cave together, okay? Pick up the cockroaches, take a bite. We're in the same cave. Let's communicate. Was it you? Said you don't get it. Okay, where's my microphone, guys?
Okay. Even the very first step, it was not clear when you explained that exchange of promissory note for real property.
I'm sorry, I did not understand.
Yeah, the very first step when you showed here is a property, the castle, and after the promissory note, at the exchange that's done, okay? After that, if that note got fractionalized, I think the wording used, I do not understand after that what is the problem there.
There isn't a problem. It's done.
Can you what is the word fractionalized?
Okay.
What does it mean?
America's, our financial system, albeit fiat or not, is based on fractionalized banking. In other words, a promissory note is, thanks for coming, Dan. We've been waiting. We're based on a system of banking where if the proper entity has $10, they can print out $100 and lend it out. That's fractionalized banking. That's the foundation of our banking system in the U.S.
So if it has been fractionalized, what's the issue after that?
There really isn't one. That deal's done.
And if the person hasn't signed a deed of trust, just this hypothetical scenario, in that case, what right you said that is the person has, in that case, the property, and the lender has no recourse to collect on promissory note, or what will happen? I do not understand.
Okay, the lender's already been paid. It's not a lender, it's a mortgage bank, it's a bank. They were paid with your promissory note.
They were paid because they sold this to someone?
No, they were paid with your promissory note. If I want that microphone and I say, hey, take this headset microphone, and I take that one and we're done, and we trade them off, is that deal done?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, you don't understand that the promissory note in banking has more value than the house. The house, the bank don't want the house. The bank never had anything to do with the house. They traded it. They want the promissory note. A $100,000 promissory note is worth $2.7 million to the bank.
Because the fractionalized.
Yes. Okay, let's stop at that subject. We'll get more on that later. Marty, over there. What? Brenda, don't start. Do not start.
Real quick, just a clarification on the fractionalization. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the bank cannot fractionalize a promissory note until the first payment has been tendered, and the reason is because the investors who are going to be taking care of the promissory or buying the promissory note on the open market have to know that there's a contract. Is that correct thinking or bad thinking?
That's not. I understand where you're going with that. I'm not going to try to explain it, but that's not truly correct. Okay, you're involving the investors in an aspect where they're not involved in yet. We're not going to go that deep in it. I know where you're going with that, and yes, if we had the time, I would love to, but that's going to take 2 hours to explain, and we just don't have it. Okay, and I'm going to abridge a lot of this stuff because we have so much new stuff. Okay, we could do a 1 week long seminar and you still wouldn't know all the stuff that we know. And most people couldn't afford it, and I would probably die afterwards. So we're going to skip that. Now, if you set aside whether or not you believe this concept, I guarantee you in law it's true. You're not supposed to believe it, and you're not supposed to know it, and it's too simple, and you have been brainwashed to only understand complicated scenarios. Understand that. I'll play games with your head later to show it to you. You won't like it, but I'm right. I'm just funny that way. So I did a treatise a while back because I'm trying to get people to get their heads around what's really going on. Most people think they're familiar with the Inquisition. How many people think they have some basic understanding of the Inquisition? Okay, you don't. So most of you think it's the Spanish Inquisition. That didn't start till like the 1400s. There's a thing on YouTube where I give a quick treatise on that. It really started, it predates the Magna Carta. Does everybody know what the Magna Carta is? Okay. Does anybody know when the Inquisition ended? Anybody have an idea? Shout out a year. What? It ended in 1966. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 1966. The Catholic said, or the Catholic Church said, we're going to stop killing off the Christians. Thank you. We appreciate the hell out of it. They didn't. Okay. when you study American jurisprudence, American law, you get all these patriot things. It's common law counts. If somebody tells you common law counts in American law, bitch slap them. They don't know what they're talking about. American jurisprudence is based on English common law. English common law. There's French common law. There's Italian common law. There's Hammurabi's Code. There's ecclesiastical code. There's a whole bunch of common law. And if they don't know enough to say English common law, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And we get a lot of that in the whole patriot movement thing. So when English common law, we're talking basically the 1400s, because of the Inquisition and the Crusades, knights, does everybody know that a lawyer is one step below a knight? In English law, you have a gentleman. We use the term gentleman as slang here in America. Gentleman is it's an honorarium. And after a gentleman, if you work hard, you can become an esquire. After you become an esquire, you can become a knight. When knights would go off to their battles, they'd have to have somebody watch their fields and all that and try and make money off them. That person would become a trust. It would be set up in what's called a sesticate trust. Now, in the case Keach v. Stanford of 1726, it was decided that we're not going to use this Latin word for that trust. We're just going to call the person a beneficiary. There's a lot of crap on the internet about the whole sesticate trust, and that's what they screwed it. No, it's just another word for beneficiary. Somebody's just trying to sound smart, and they're not. So when you think of the word beneficiary, that's somebody that's getting, some benefit from some kind of thing set up to benefit somebody, and they happen to be that somebody. Well, when the knights would come back, they would go, get out of here, trustee. I need to make money again. I'm back from the war. And understand, war back then for a knight could have been 10, could have been 20 years. So the trustee has set up his family, literally second generation family, maybe third, because some of these crusade stuff was a long time. Some knights came back to grandchildren. Their wife wasn't even pregnant when they left, but what the hell. So they wanted their land back. So they go, I need to go to court. It's my land. In England at that time, there was what's called chancery, the chancellor of England. Wasn't that many people back there. He was in charge of all of them as far as monetary disputes, the civil side of life. So they created what's called chancery courts. In chancery courts, it was decided that there would be the legal owner. There's a difference between the term legal and lawful. So the trustee would be the legal owner. Now, the legal owner had certain rights up to about here. The true owner, the knight, always trumps it. The chancery courts then came out and stipulated that truth comes from God, law comes from man, God trumps man, therefore the knight gets his land back and everything from it. So true owner trumps legal owner in all cases. So that moved over to American jurisprudence because it's English common law. We first got chancery courts. There is still in the U.S. one place where we have chancery courts. You're probably not going to deal with it. Chancery courts moved into what's called courts of equity. And you hear the patriots talk about equity all the time. Let me say this again. That's where that'll get you. So that was moved into what's called civil law. And that's what we deal with now. So, and that is what we're going to talk about.